Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. I've got some good news. I've got some bad news. What do you want first? I guess we'll start with the bad news. But is it really bad news, or is it just recruiting? Look, I made a video last week. David Sanders comes off an Ohio State visit. Steve Wiltfong saying Ohio State could be the front runner. A lot of people freak out. It's recruiting. There's highs, there's lows. We're dealing with 17-year-old kids, 16-year-old kids that are making a decision about their future. It's fun. It's exciting, but some people can't really handle it. More bad news coming our way. A couple of days ago, this hit Twitter. Andrew Babalola drops his official visit schedule in Tennessee is left off the list. They just found out this past week. Now, Andrew Babalola, an elite prospect, a 5-star offensive tackle, top 15 player nationally. But when we talk about recruiting, right, and we talk about how it's fluid, that's the buzzword people like to use. You're not going to land every guy on your recruiting board, but something that we've talked a lot about the last couple of months, Tennessee's recruiting board is pretty deep, particularly on the offensive line, also at the wide receiver position. But you look at it, you start running it down. Now you've missed on Andrew Babalola. You've had a prediction come out for Juan Gaston to end up at Georgia. Both Steve Wiltfong and Chad Simmons put that prediction in. Now he's going to visit Georgia on May the 31st, but he's still going to take a visit to Tennessee. He'll be in Knoxville officially on June the 14th. You still have an outside shot at Juan Gaston. You know, VolQuest has said recently that the relationships are a key for Juan Gaston, the 4-star interior offensive lineman. Tennessee's continued to do an excellent job there heading into the summer, but they also said so has Georgia. Josh Petty predicted to Florida State. Guess what? He's still going to take that official to Knoxville on June the 7th. But some of these guys, Josh Petty, also Andrew Babalola, are guys that I've talked a lot about and kind of felt like they're on Tennessee's board, but I don't think Tennessee is really up there at the top of the list. So if you miss on Babalola, you miss on Juan Gaston, you miss on Josh Petty, but what if you go get David Sanders? What if you go get Jalen Matthews? Is that a win on the offensive line? Is that a win at the offensive tackle position? Or do you just look at the guys that you missed? You can look, here's David Sanders' official visit schedule coming up. He'll be in Knoxville on June the 14th. Last official visit is going to be at Ohio State on June the 21st. Does that concern you that Ohio State gets that last visit? Now, David Sanders, again, he's elite. Who would you rather have, Andrew Babalola or David Sanders? Now, it's difficult to get two guys of that caliber, right? They both want that left tackle position, that NFL draft position. Everybody wants left tackle. David Sanders is the number 1 ranked offensive tackle in the country. He's the number 2 ranked player nationally. This is the one that you push all your chips on. And is that why you're seeing guys like Josh Petty, who Tennessee was recruiting to play on the interior, guys like Babalola, look elsewhere? Is David Sanders the guy that Tennessee is pushing all their chips in on? 6'5.5", 275. We all know who David Sanders is. I like that he was in town back-to-back weekends back during the spring, right? Got to see what practice looked like, see what practice was all about, take in the spring game. He missed Clemson's spring game to do that. And when you're talking about Clemson, all the buzz is around Ohio State right now, right? You go back and at one point it was Tennessee and Clemson, and then it's Ohio State and Tennessee. But guess what the one constant is? That team at the top keeps changing, but Tennessee is always the constant. And something that VolQuest put out was that David Sanders is going to be at the On3 Elite Series event in Nashville coming up at the end of the month, and he's going to try to get back to Knoxville at that same time. So we'll see if that happens, but if not, he will be in town officially on June the 14th. And then you've also got Jalen Matthews, a guy that, you know, he was ranked inside the top 250 at one point, loves Tennessee. I think if you land David Sanders, you land Jalen Matthews, and then you find a couple of more guys there on the interior, you know, Juan Gaston. There's some guys that Tennessee's recruiting on the interior. I think you're doing a pretty good job there. You're not going to land them all. So we're talking about good news and bad news. If you miss Babalola, you miss on some of these other guys, but you get your David Sanders, you get your Jalen Matthews. I think you're going to be all right. And you also have to look back at the class of 24. Some people want to talk about Glenn Ellerbe and how he's missed and how he hasn't landed anybody. That's not the case. Landed Bennett Warren, landed William Satterwhite, landed Max Anderson, landed Gage Ginther. That class, that offensive line class last season was pretty dang solid. So if you can stack in a couple of guys in this class of 25, I think the offensive line is going to be trending in the right direction. But I said good news. I said there was some good news. We've got a commitment coming up on Tuesday night. Antony Aurro, interior offensive lineman. I think Tennessee is in a good spot here. Most people think either Tennessee or Oklahoma will be the decision. We're going to cover that live on the air. Tuesday night, 7:15 p.m. Eastern time. We will be going live, taking you all the way up to the decision. He's going to be streaming it on his Instagram, so we will have that decision live right here on the Talkin VAWLS Network Tuesday night at 7:15 p.m. Eastern time, so make sure you tune in for that. Now, do all that YouTube stuff for me. You guys know the deal by now. Make sure you hit the thumbs up just below the video. It's quick, it's free, it's easy, it helps the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, if it's your first time here, welcome. We're not experts here. We're not insiders. We're not media. We don't pretend to be any of that. We don't talk at you here. We talk with you. This channel is for the fans, by the fans. If you like what we do, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. We're also fan funded. If you like the videos, the content, the community aspect of this channel, whatever you like, think about hitting that join button. I'm only able to do this because of you guys. You can do that for as little as $1 a month. You get custom Talkin VAWLS emojis, access to fan call-in shows, all kinds of fun perks and benefits. We would appreciate your support. Let's move on and talk a little bit more recruiting. Something that I thought was interesting that came out this week. VolQuest put it out. Derek Meadows, a 4-star wide receiver, top 50 player when you look at the On3 industry rankings. He's a guy we were just talking about last week, working with former Vol wide receiver Marcus Nash. That was his high school coach at one point. Now he's working with him in kind of the off-season type roles. But man, as a guy that I thought Tennessee was really pushing in on, in a good spot for, according to VolQuest, the staff elected to not bring Derek Meadows in for an official visit. He had 7 officials locked in. Tennessee was the first. According to VolQuest, the staff said not bringing him in. Somebody pushed further. Austin Price said, sounds like the staff received some tape. They examined it. They were the first of 7 officials and felt like they were going to go in a different direction. Now, it continues to get interesting for me. And again, wide receiver was another board very deep. Tennessee had a lot of names on, and one of those names was in-state wide receivers, right? In-state prospects. You've already got Radarius Jackson in the boat. You've got Joakim Dotson in the boat. Cam Sparks was another in-state kid that a lot of people thought, this is a Tennessee guy, 6'3", 210 pounds out of Chattanooga. Kind of looks like that Cedric Tillman, Brew McCoy type role. Seems like he would fit in this offense perfectly. Somebody asked Austin Price about Cameron Sparks this week. He said Tennessee isn't doing anything there. That kind of surprised me. So, excuse me, where does Tennessee go from here? Where do they go at the wide receiver position? Not doing anything with Cam Sparks? Derek Meadows not going to take an official visit? Well, a couple of guys that I think Tennessee will push on. And how many more do they take? You've got 2 in the boat. I think they look to take maybe 2 more. We'll see where they decide to go with that. One of those guys, Marcus Harris, 5'11", 180, out of Santa Ana, California, just outside the top 50 according to the On3 industry rankings. Now, up at the top of his list, it's Alabama, Georgia, Oregon, Tennessee, or Texas. He'll take an official visit to Tennessee on June the 7th. This is what Chad Simmons said just recently. The official visits will be the key as the 4-star playmaker moves closer to a decision. Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee look to move up his list. Harris wants to hear each staff out one last time and learn more about their plan for him. He will also spend time with players and just get that one last feeling on campus before he makes the call. Who will make him feel like a priority? That will be the key too. Harris is looking for that home feeling he has mentioned to On3 in the past as well. His mother will be a factor also. Those two are very close and break down each visit as they travel home. And I think those statements, those words from Chad Simmons there are kind of key to all these guys, right? The official visits are going to be very important. That's why the coming weeks, the coming months, throughout the end of May, into June, into July, we're going to see some of these official visits take place. That's where you're going to start to see some of these decisions coming in, and that's where this class of 25 is really going to start to take shape. So I think Marcus Harris is one to keep an eye on. Another guy that I think Tennessee may be pushing in on at the wide receiver position, and that is Travis Smith. Got his visits pulled up on the screen there. You can see Georgia, Alabama, Auburn. He will visit Tennessee on June the 21st for his official visit. Again, a 4-star wide receiver, a top 100 prospect, 6'3.5", 200 pounds out of Atlanta, Georgia. And again, Georgia, Alabama, Auburn, and Tennessee up there at the top. But again, this is the world of recruiting. It is fluid. Things change. Some bad news, some good news. The bottom line is we're going to find out. I think Josh Heupel, this coaching staff, no more excuses. No more NCAA investigation. No more excuses from me. Josh Heupel is up against the wall. I think this class of 25, and I also think the 2024 season is going to be big. I think we're going to find out just who Josh Heupel is, and I think we're going to like what we see. What do you guys think? Jump into the comment section. Let's talk a little bit of recruiting. Is it Glenn Ellaby? Is it Josh Heupel? Is it this coaching staff? Is it NIL? Let's talk about it in the comment section. Hit the thumbs up on the way out the door. I would greatly appreciate it. Go check out the Talkin VAWLS merch. You can go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. That link is also in the description below. Hope you guys have a great Saturday. That's going to do it for this one. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.